All right. Hello and welcome to another Driven Catalyst live stream. I have a fun little intro animation that exists now, but we are still, we being me, working on the behind the scenes of how to bring that to fruition. But in the meantime, I like to believe you're not here for the flash warning intro animation. You're here for Yes and UI. And so let's get to that. If you don't know what Yes and UI is, it is a fun little game I cooked up to keep myself enriched, where I use the principles of improv, yes and, to help guide decision making for user interface design. So the way I do things is I get 7 randomly generated words from the internet, and I go into a process of brainstorming. I talk through those 7 words. That is, think of it as like the color palette I'm laying out. And as I give myself not any set amount of time, but I sort of think through, okay, like these 2 words go together in this way. And, I brainstorm some sort of function or app idea that helps, that fits the words that are randomly generated. From there, I go into wireframing and app design, and I do as much as I can within a reasonable amount of time to be on live stream. I know we all define reasonable differently. Generally around here, it's 30 to 40 minutes, 20, 30, 40, kind of when we reach a good stopping point. But this is Yes and UI, and I am going to get the randomly generated words queued up, and then we will kick it off. I am going to screen share the random generation of words because I feel like that enhances the experience. I didn't do it last time because I was a little too lazy to set up the back end for screen sharing on live stream. But I feel like we were missing something. So we're going to do it today. But that means I'm going to have to vamp while I get everything set up. So, hope you are all having a good week. Kind of weird that I'm hopping on live stream first time this week on a Wednesday. What the heck? Week's almost over. But I did a fun little weekend trip. I went and saw a concert at the Colorado Red Rocks, which was insane. That is such a bucket list venue for me. I don't even know what to do with myself, frankly, now that I've gone. It was absolutely everything I could have dreamed of and more. And that's enough vamping because I've got everything set up. But yeah, man, if you are a music lover and you have the opportunity to ever see a show at Red Rocks, I can't recommend it enough. It was phenomenal. Boom, here's our random word generator. I'm going to generate a new random 7 words so you can watch. You have proof that this is all new to me, just as it's new to you. We've got society, pest, carpet, depend, core, stir, and toast. I always copy and paste them somewhere helpful for me. And let's start cooking. Step into my kitchen. I'm going to paste them into the actual XD file right now. And when I pull it up, you'll see my previous Yes and UI segments, episodes, live streams, what have you. We did an event planning role assignment social app called Rolly, and then we did basically like a letterboxed for records called list.en. So now we are going to go into the word association stage of, it would be, if we were doing improv, this would be word association that gets swept into monologues, into scenes. If you are heralding, for those who are improv inclined, I'm sure there are many that aren't. It's probably the majority. Actually, if you're tuning in, maybe you are. In which case, hi, let's be friends. So good to see you. But like, here's our color palette. Let's get working with it. Our metaphorical color palette. I'm going to copy and paste a little like phone-sized thing so that when I start wireframing, I have it set up. These are the previous projects, like promised. And like, let's get to it. Society, pest, carpet, depend, core, stir, and toast. Obviously, right from the get-go, I'm thinking pest and carpet go together. I have very visceral images of an infestation that I really want to get away from as soon as possible. Society and pest, I think of just menaces to society. I think of that episode of Black Mirror, frankly, where it's the one directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, where everyone like rates each other based on their social interactions. Carpet, pest, society. So that's like giving Yelp a little bit to me. I think of having like needing pest removal from my carpet and needing a place where society is sort of organizing that we can find. You know, I'm thinking like those different apps that are used for finding nannies and stuff. Rachel's List or whatever. Not Craigslist, but the other one where you can... Angie's List. Sorry, Angie. That's my bad. Yeah, I'm thinking Angie's List, but that already exists. So let's extend beyond that. Depend, core, stir, and toast. Toast is an app, a food ordering app already. Toast is like a speech you would give at an event. Stir, to stir the pot. Drama, I think of Yik Yak, that crazy app where people would post anonymously on like messaging boards that was really big on campuses. What if it was, okay, that's like kind of a thing, a messaging board app where people do that with like missed connections. People do that with... have you all seen that where people will write almost like little love letters, but they'll address them only to the person's first name, and like people will go and check, and I don't know. That's a thing. That to me a little bit is something I think of Yik Yak, but like with toasts. So instead of posting needless drama, you post like a toast to someone, but anonymously, maybe. Kudos, if you will. Depend and core. Man, like, let's talk about core. How often are we using the word core unless we're gym dude bros or like Aggies in the core of cadets type context? The core of an apple. Depend. Depend. I don't know if any of y'all are in the Bravo-verse, but I am, and I have certainly watched my fair share of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I think of Lisa Rinna and her getting that bag from the Depends commercials. Let's see. Pest, carpet, society, core, stir, toast. I like the toast idea. The idea of it being like a messaging board for like sweet little, like sweet nothings. I would like to do something that doesn't exist already. I kind of want to use this as an opportunity to think out of the box. Like that's supposed to be what this is. That's supposed to be the nature of this, with it being kind of ridiculous. Yes, and UI. So let's figure something out. Toast, stir, core. What if this is like a Yelp style app? No. Man. I'm still getting I'm still strengthening these muscles, getting my head back in the game, uh, of being able to really creatively iterate. Um, so I feel like I'm slow, kind of, with coming up with ideas, and that's not necessarily ideal for when you're trying to do it live. Um, Core, stir, toast, depend, I feel like, is a good action word, especially for an app. So I definitely want to commit to depend. That is part of this too. With improv, sometimes things get dropped, and the way you say yes to something is by allowing it to sort of slip. Sorry, this chair falls. The way to say yes is to embrace the fact that maybe your idea that you came up with that was so precious to you and you thought was really going to kill, was going to be so funny. You just have to drop it. So, we're not going to use all of these words. I can promise you that much, because this is quite the arrangement. But I do like the word depend. I am going to commit to the word depend. So I'm going to sort of set it aside. This isn't necessarily how I always run things, but right now, as I'm drawing blanks, I do feel like I want to have it set to the side, like somewhat of a safety blanket. And when I say depend, I mean like trustworthiness. We are now beyond the scope of the Lisa Rinna commercial. Depend, society, pest, core. Depend, stir. I like the idea of mixing depend and stir because they feel very opposite to me. Stir is to mix something up, to not be dependable, kind of. But if we are depending on stirring things up, what would that look like? How can we apply that to an app idea? We're depending on stirring things up. I've seen there is, I don't know if it's an app idea or it's just more so a business model, but there is a company that will like come to your city and you can pay for dinner tickets and they will randomly assign you like a dinner with 7 other people. And it's for people who are like looking to meet friends in a new city. I kind of like the idea of that, of there being like stirring up society and you having to depend on each other, and figuring out a way to make that work. I like that. Okay, so my family is really big into the New York Times puzzles still, the Wordle, all of that stuff. What if, kind of similar to Words with Friends and all of those games that you would play real time with people, what if you logged on every day to do your Wordle, but you had to depend on someone else to finish it? And so it's this short form puzzle style game, but you're assigned basically random group team members. Maybe this exists already, but I like the idea of that. So this is depend, stir, and society, I would say. And if we really wanted to, let's like throw another word in there. Core, toast, or pest, I feel like are good. Really, we're just getting rid of carpet. Or you know what? Maybe the carpet is part of the game. Maybe part of it is that you put together like a carpet, or it's like those preschool carpets where there's like a map or like little cars on it. Maybe that's part of the puzzle. Depend, stir, society. This is tricky because I've committed myself to coming up with basically a game. Like every time you put yourself in a position to come up with the rules for like a puzzle, I feel like things get harder. Also, where did that word box go? What was it again? It was depend, society, and stir. Okay. So since we're wireframing something, I feel like immediately we need some sort of symbol that signifies like like stir. So like let's find some arrows. I have this plugin, flat icons, and we are going to use like typing in random all styles, all series. Let's do PNG icons free. Can I just see all? Arrow. Okay. Here, this is perfect. Okay, so this is, we're gonna stir. This is gonna be our icon for stirring it. And you get 3 other people. You randomly are assigned 3 other people from society that you have to depend on. What the puzzle is, I don't know yet. I do like these colors that it randomly assigned me. I feel like they kind of fit the daily puzzle Wordle type vibe. So we are going to commit to that. It looks like these outlines are almost a chocolatey brown. Ooh, I really love the color scheme now. I love that the outline is brown. That is beautiful. Look at this color palette. Are you joking me? Crazy. I love this. This weird font that I accidentally chose to begin with kind of fits too. Depend society stir. I like stir. What if we just called it stir? And then what is this font called? We'll commit to that being part of the branding. Is it really just called Z? You're kidding. You come up with a font. You get to name it yourself. You called it Z? Fair enough. So then something I think gray with brown, like a silvery looking gray with brown. I think that looks sleek. Look at that. Woo! Don't you want to play the game? Now we got to figure out what the game is. So you get randomly assigned teammates. That's has to be part of it because that's the basis with which I formed this idea. You have to depend on each other. What's a game that you really have to depend on people for? I'm playing around a little bit with shapes. I don't think those turned out that cute. So we're going to be classic about it. We're going to do circles. So just eyedroppering it. I'm going to get rid of the outline because I think that'll look cleaner. Blue. Come on. Okay. And then let's make it super big and eye-catching. Why not? Oh my gosh. Wait, I like that. Okay. What if the game is every day you're randomly assigned people, right? Society is stirred. And you have to figure out what you all have in common. And it has to be like, don't be boring about it. Like, actually figure out, okay, yeah. Hold on. So it's like a Venn diagram type thing, except okay, here we go. So stir, you log on, everyone randomly chooses a word of the day. Enter a random enter a starting word. So the idea that I just kind of said, oh, that's what I'll do, is there's that game that people will play where I think generally they will see how many Wikipedia clicks it takes to get from one prompt to another prompt. A lot of people they do their big one, picking out what the end goal, the end destination is. And it's like, can you do it in 7 clicks? The idea for this one is you all enter a starting word, and then I think you have to keep entering words till you can find a way to put all 3 of you into a Venn diagram sort of situation. If you listen to the song Portugal from Walk the Moon, there's the line, our Venn diagrams are one circle. Love that line. That is the idea of this. You have to figure out, you stir up your words that you randomly enter, and you have to figure out basically what you have in common with your randomly assigned people. And you only have their other words to go off of. So I basically think like you're going to play word association with strangers in the most meaningful way possible, like as much as you can. And the game doesn't end until all of your words match. Basically, it's like Mind Meld, which is a game you play in improv, and you have to find you have to situate yourself in that little shape, basically. So I think in between rounds, the words that other people have put will appear. So I'm just gonna flamingo, afraid, lactose, forgotten. Right? So I'm just trying to kind of, these are random words, right? But in theory, there's a real life human being that found some way, like this means something to someone, in theory. Flamingo, afraid, lactose, forgotten. And each round, things change. Okay, so if we're doing flamingo, afraid, lactose, forgotten, what is something someone may say? So someone may see in the first round flamingo. I guess we'll start random for everything. So this person maybe, what's on their mind is pet at first, and then they see flamingo, and then they think zoo, and then they see lactose, and they think stomach ache. And then they see stomach ache and forgotten, and they think medicine. I don't know. And then this person, so I think part of this too is maybe that you're shown, like, I think it jumbles to, or stirs, if you will, whose answers you're getting shown. So maybe this person saw pet the first time and they thought needy, and then they saw afraid and they thought ghost, and then they saw lactose and they also thought ache, and then they saw medicine and forgotten and they thought urgent. And these two both said ache, and so now ache ends up there. So now I'm just going to copy and paste this, and we'll put ache here in the middle. Maybe you can go in and select. Let's add. Keep adding words. So you add them in here and you type as you see things pop up. I do want to have like a slide that's kind of more blank. So I'm going to add that. Flamingo afraid. Maybe this one's quicker to add words. Needy and ghost. And then ache appears. And then maybe you get an alert. You've stirred the same. Keep adding words until the whole team is aligned. So you add the words down there. I do think too that like maybe the players' profiles appear up top. And then there's got to be some sort of indicator of which one you are. So we'll do that. So these are up top. Oh, wait, hold on. Also, there's our words that disappeared. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Let's use the same font. This is my first time I'm not using Montserrat. Alert the presses. So maybe this is someone named Samuel Thomas. I always like to try and be sort of different about how I do things design-wise, because I find it is more eye-catching. So I'm gonna make this bigger. Wait, let me copy that. So just for the little initial avatars, I'm gonna mask with shape. And so we do like that. And then I guess I can just copy and paste. We'll do an MA. That's giving initials, right? I think so. And then this one is pink. How do I make it pink? There we go. Pink, and then we go for a lighter pink the same way we did a lighter blue. Also kind of doing a mental vibe check to make sure that I'm not accidentally spelling anything weird while I'm coming up with random initials. And then we'll do, let's do DC for Driven Catalyst. We'll make it yellow. Nope. There we go. Yellow. And I accidentally moved the mask, which we don't want. And then time to make the light yellow text. No. Okay, I resized the mask by accident. Choosing an initial was such a hard line on the far left edge, wasn't looking right. So I'm choosing different initials. Now W is too wide. What should I do? U? Yeah. Okay, so these are the players, and then in my mind, the one that's up is who you are, which most players already know. That makes sense too, because we already have, then pink is the one I like the idea of, making it more opaque there. And then I think maybe too, after it tells you, it reminds you what reconsider what your teammate submitted earlier as you continue. So it reminds you of the other words submitted. And I'm going to change up the text wrapping. I don't know of a better way to do it on XD, so I did it that way. And then in my mind, you go back to this. And then I think maybe too, your teammates matched a word. Knock out one of yours to help narrow the stir log. I don't know. Once again, like, the funny thing about coming up with these ideas sometimes means you just build your own world with your own rules and you start just speaking gibberish. The stir log. Well, of course, the stir log. But I think that is the point of this, of Yes and UI. I think that is kind of what you do with apps. You build a world. And if it's useful enough, or if it makes enough sense, then it becomes integrated in the real world. And then all of a sudden saying, I'm going to make a tweet means something to everyone else all of a sudden. I'm going to choose a word. I'm going to say they are going to get rid of the word flamingo. And so I'm going to put it on top of the other, and it's brown, and so that is the word that they're getting rid of. And so now reconsider. Okay, so now the reconsider what your teammate submitted earlier as you continued. So then your teammate removed a word maybe you change it. You add a new word. Your teammate changed a word to help stir new ideas. These are their responses now. Okay, so cool. So this is my random little game that I came up with. And the idea is that it's word association that you play with strangers. And the words we started with were society, pest, carpet, core, stir, toast, depend, and depend. I guess I just deleted depend right out of the gate because I liked it. So yeah, that's what we do here on some Wednesdays. We do Yes and UI. Web Design Wednesday is the name of the game. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you will tune in for more another time. This is the Driven Catalyst live stream channel. I will see you tomorrow around the same time. I usually log in towards the end of the day. Hope you have a great Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow.